Hi, I'm Michael Marin. At Holy Name Medical Center, we believe that all citizens need to be informed about the important healthcare issues that affect their daily lives. That's why we're proud to support programming produced by the Caucus Educational Corporation and their partners in public television.
Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by Holy Name Medical Center in Teaneck, New Jersey. Healing begins here. PNC Bank, Kessler Foundation, changing the lives of people with disabilities. Bergen Community College, New Jersey Council of County Colleges. United Water, making the planet sustainable is the best job on earth. And by Health Republic Insurance of New Jersey.
This is One-on-One.
When you first heard that they were doing Charlie Rose and Gayle King, didn't you go, what?
People like laughing at others, so I don't mind if the other is me.
See, you go right into the character. That's what it is.
I'm bringing families together a half an hour each week. Man, I'm doing something special.
And so I do feel successful.
Hi, this is Steve Adubato. We're at the 9th annual Adler Aphasia Center Gala. This is a night to raise money for an incredible organization, the Adler Aphasia Center. This is a national, international model that raises awareness, that helps those struggling with aphasia. Aphasia is a term that most people really don't know what it's all about. They've never heard of it. It is a communication affliction. It is a problem for those who have aphasia. It does not affect the mind in terms of one's intellect, but it does in fact affect their ability to communicate, get their message across. So tonight, the Adler Aphasia Center honors the New Jersey State Senate President Steve Sweeney with the Advocacy Award, the 2014 Advocacy Award. We spoke to a whole range of other people who are part of this great event. The night is called Something Special, a Gem of an Evening. It's the 2014 Adler Aphasia Center Gala. They're doing important work. It's something you really need to know about. Hi, Steve Adubato. We're on location for an in-depth one-on-one interview with the president of the New Jersey State Senate, Steve Sweeney. Good to see you, Steve.
Good to see you too, Steve.
Now, people are wondering, where are we? We're not in the State House.
No.
We're not in the studio for Capitol Report or one-on-one. We're at the Adler Aphasia Center Gala. This is the Something Special, a Gem of an Evening Gala, the Adler Aphasia Center. You are being honored with the Advocacy Award, right? 2014 Advocacy Award, right? Yeah. Committed to advocating for those who are dealing with aphasia, their families, advocacy for aphasia research. It means a lot, doesn't it?
Oh, Steve, it's remarkable what the people up here are doing, too. You know, I didn't understand what this was, aphasia. Very few people do. And Loretta Weinberg said...
Senator Weinberg,
yes,
who's right behind you listening to the conversation.
Well, she's the boss here. Yeah. She told me, you know, when we started, we created a study commission. And then we, you know, got them some money just recently to help support.
A grant to support the Adler Aphasia Center, right?
Yes, because, Steve, these are people that had strokes that basically have been told you can't do anything, that's it. And it's remarkable what they're gaining through physical therapy and training. They're retraining people.
Sure.
And, you know, these are people whose lives have great value. I met a hand surgeon the other day. I met someone that was head of a neurological something up in one of the hospitals up here.
Sure.
So, you know, you have people with great talents that have suffered from a stroke, and instead of just saying, oh, I'm sorry, too bad, no, we're not going to accept that. We're going to do something about it. So for me, I got into politics. You know my story.
Your daughter was a big part of it. Yeah, remind folks who may not know.
Yeah, I have a daughter born with Down syndrome, so I wanted to be an advocate for the disabled. I live in southern New Jersey. This is in Bergen County. When Loretta told me what they were doing here...
At the Adler Aphasia Center.
Yeah, I was so excited to come here and actually witness it. And Steve, it's impressive. We need centers like this, or at least satellites, throughout the state. Because people have strokes all throughout the state, not just here. And having the ability to go to a place and regain or gain back some of what you lost, you know, a lot of times you were written off as it was over. There are people here that don't accept, no, in my business as an iron worker, we have a saying, if you can't do it, you can't stay. So you don't accept somebody saying they can't, because you always can.
Folks, if you're just joining us, we're speaking to Senate President Steve Sweeney. We're at the Adler Aphasia Center in Maywood, New Jersey, which is a hike for you from down south, but you're all over the state all the time with Senator Sweeney. Mike and Elaine Adler, our friends up here, invited us up here. We're part of this event. We try to advocate for public awareness about aphasia. Thank you for joining us. You're always accessible. Even at an event like this, you made time for the citizens of the state and the region. Thank you, Steve.
Thanks, Steve. Thank you.
Stay with us. We'll be right back right after this.
To see more one-on-one with Steve Adubato programs, visit us online at steveadubato.org. If you would like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato PhD and follow us on Twitter at Steve Adubato.
I am Mark Adler.
I'm Elaine Adler, co-founder with my husband Mike of the Adler Aphasia Center.
My father-in-law was a very dynamic, talkative, high-energy CEO.
He was playing tennis one morning, came home when a blood clot went to the brain and caused him to become aphasic.
He was a very vibrant, articulate person, all of a sudden speechless.
I mean, we did everything together. If he needed me, I was there, but if I needed him, he was there. And now he needed me, but it was a whole other dynamic.
He felt very isolated. And then he came to find out that there were a lot of people with aphasia who were isolated. And by bringing them together in one place, it brought him almost like his speech back.
Years ago, people thought after only maybe a couple of months that an aphasic could not improve, and my in-laws have helped actually prove that that's not the case, that you can continue to improve over years, and that's clearly been the case with my father-in-law.
I started a center to help other people.
We started with 4 people with aphasia and 4 caregivers. And today we have at this site about 80 people with aphasia.
I think it's a place where people can be who they were before they got aphasia and be even better having aphasia.
When he started the center and it started to grow and people came from everywhere, whatever they did for a living before, it was just almost a club that they joined after they got aphasia. And they were all equal. Had to get out of themselves and kind of get into this new way of living.
Most people feel like they've been left out. But what they've done is they've made people feel included.
If you have an affliction like aphasia, which could isolate you in so many ways, you don't have to be alone.
There's companionship. There's the ability to be part of a something.
This is something that's needed. This is something that works.
It's a great community of people.
1 out of 250 people in America have it, and very few people know about it. And there's just such a big opportunity to help so many more people. So that's where I always look to the future.
Best thing to hear someone say, "You gave me back my life." That's the best thing.
We're here with Elaine Adler, Mike and Elaine Adler, found at the Adler Aphasia Center here in Maywood, New Jersey. Senate President Steve Sweeney won the 2014 Advocacy Award. For those who don't know why is that the senator won that award?
He is a very empathetic man. He cares about people who have problems. Not everyone cares about people with problems. And it's so necessary in this world. We, the fortunate ones who don't have a problem, may not realize the lifestyle that the family goes through, the horrors when no one is there to help, even if it's just a little bit of help, to know that somebody cares is so important, and he is so empathetic that the state will realize someone great because he will do whatever he can to make it a humble but gracious and caring New Jersey.
And actually, there's an aphasia study commission going on right now. There's a grant that is coming from the state into the Adler Aphasia Center. Listen, none of that would be happening if it were not for the Adler Aphasia Center. They're leading the way, not just in the state, but across the nation. A lot of things are happening. It's not just here in Maywood, but in West Orange, New Jersey, some of the other places where the aphasia effort is moving forward include?
Well, Newark for one. And
Spanish speaking, right?
Yes.
Why is that so important?
You know as well as I that we want to get to the population. If they don't understand, then we can't help them. But if I may, if people would only learn the word aphasia, they know what Parkinson's is, they know what all the other terrible blights are. But there are 2 million people in the United States who suffer from aphasia.
Which is, for those who don't know?
The inability to communicate. Basically, after a left brain stroke, that's the communication part of one's brain, or traumatic brain injury, and if you think of the NFL and a few other...
Or soldiers coming home?
Absolutely. Or sometimes there's a tumor on the brain, but mainly it's from a stroke. And we know, we've proven that we can help these people, but I say we go beyond the person who's been physically affected. If you think of the families, you think of everyone around them who are frustrated. My husband had the stroke 21 years ago.
Mike.
And my husband, Mike, and he's wonderful, he's great, he's all good things. But he speaks to me and I still don't understand everything he says. And it's frustrating. It's unhappy because what I'm saying is true, but I want to go on. If you know of someone who can use our services, you will be blessed by that family if you will send them on to the Adler Aphasia Center, which you can Google, adleraphasiacenter.org.
And you turn no one away.
That's right. Money, of course, is necessary, but a person's needs come first. We will not turn anyone away for lack of money. If they can pay, of course we need it and we want it. But it's life and death in many ways. Death because you just cut yourself off from people and things. You want to stay home and watch television, or you want to get out? Our people camp out. They spend a weekend camping. They go water skiing. They go to theater. They do so many.
And tell them what's something. By the way, the folks, Something Special has been in existence for about 5 years, I imagine, here. And tell folks they were honored tonight. The Something Special folks. They make jewelry. They make handbags. Tell folks what they make, and they've raised $200,000 in the last 5 years for the programs here at the Adler Aphasia Center. What is Something Special, and why are they so special?
They're special because I say, as I told you, it's a left brain stroke which affects the right side. If you see people who are crippled on the right side, it's left brain. So we make jewelry, which means that we string. So I say 2 lefties will work together. One will hold the string, the other will put on the bead. Now, where in this world would people sit together who, well, of course, they understand each other, but where would they find each other to have companionship, to produce something that's beautiful? Well, when we sell a piece of jewelry, or we have beautiful, beautiful house gifts.
That's Something Special?
Yeah, that's Something Special. Whenever something is sold, it is handsomely packaged, so it's really a gift. And best of all, a biography of the person who created it is included. So it really is a special, special gift because they know that it was not store-bought. It was made by someone who cared and loved doing it.
Thanks for everything you're doing, Elaine. You and Mike and everyone here at the Adler Aphasia Center.
Without you, how would people know who we are and where we are? We're here in Maywood. If you ride down the street, there's a sign. But if you're not riding down the street, who's going to know about us? But Steve Adubato, bless him. How many years now have you been our MC?
I think from day one.
Yes.
Honored to be a part of it. Thanks, Elaine.
Well, we've been blessed with you.
Steve Adubato, we're here at the Adler Aphasia Center Gala. We're here with Stephen Ollendorf, a huge supporter and a friend of the Adlers. The program is about to start. Stephen, let me ask you, why is this event, why is this organization so important?
Because it is a breakthrough in terms of developing the brain, and aphasia is an unknown disease, and it's curable, and it changes people's lives on an individual basis, and it really should be adopted because it's curative, and it's powerful, and it changes everyone's life one by one.
And the Adlers are doing great work.
And the Adlers are doing phenomenal work. They've dedicated their life. Michael is a walking example of aphasia. We went to Africa with him just after he had his stroke. He walked around with us, but his improvement year by year is just astonishing for a man his age.
Thank you, Stephen.
You're welcome.
To see more one-on-one with Steve Adubato programs, visit us online at steveadubato.org. If you would like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato PhD and follow us on Twitter at Steve Adubato.
We're here at the Adler Aphasia Center, the 9th annual gala of the Adler Aphasia Center. We're here with one of the huge supporters, one of the board members, Linda Bowden from PNC Bank. Let me ask you, we just finished this great night. Why are you so engaged and involved with the Adler Aphasia Center?
Well, actually, I have a very personal reason. My dad had aphasia, and I saw a very communicative, very powerful man who was so smart really struggle with communicating. And so I met Bernie Koster. He introduced me to Elaine Adler. Who can say no to Elaine? And here I am. And I have to say, now that I have been part of this board for almost 5 years and see the terrific work that they do, and it's something that people don't know about. People don't know what aphasia is until you've seen it firsthand. And these folks do God's work day in and day out, I have to say.
And real quick, Linda, for those who don't know, aphasia is something affects the communication skills of those who are afflicted with it. Why is it important for the rest of us to know more about it?
Because it could happen to anyone. Oftentimes it's as a result of a stroke, many times a result of an accident. It does not affect the intellect, it affects your ability to speak. So I'm very grateful that PNC Bank is so supportive, supports me, supports the center in this terrific work. But this is something that could happen to anyone. It could happen to any one of your family members at any time.
Thanks, Linda.
Thank you, Steve.
Now, Donna runs a place called Salon Gossip. You were honored tonight at the Adler Aphasia Center. Donna and her team at Salon Gossip, I mean, she'll tell the story, but they got involved by taking the jewelry at something special. I guess you had a special night where jewelry was sold, and then it got even bigger after that, and you became a part of the aphasia movement.
Yes, I did. So my client, Nancy Chudy, and thank you for speaking to me, she was a wonderful woman and she passed away. And I know that the Aphasia Center, the Adler...
Did she have aphasia?
Yes, she did. She suffered a stroke 7 years ago. So her husband, Peter, and herself, she came to my salon. They were clients for years. And I saw the difference that the Adler Aphasia Center made for her. So when, unfortunately, she passed, I wanted to acknowledge her. And every year in the salon, we do something called May We Help as a way to give back to the community.
May We Help?
Yes, we do it because the anniversary for the salon, it's been open for 13 years, was in May. So every year, karmically, we give back to the community some way, and it just felt natural to give back to the Adler Aphasia Center in memory of her. We sold butterflies. We started really small. We sold paper butterflies for $1 a piece. We raised about $500-600 that way first. And then I came here and I met Krissa. So Krissa introduced me to the jewelry and the...
That's something special.
Yeah.
Winners
You can tell the event is still going on here. The silent auction, they're raising money here at the Adler Aphasia Center. So you have the night, you raise the money, what happens?
Right. So everybody loved it, and we sold about $2,000 worth of product, and we decided to keep the product in the salon and ask if we could be a satellite store for something special. So now we only have that as anything that we sell besides hair product, and everybody comes in and they buy it for Christmas gifts and Mother's Day and Father's Day. Yeah, it's beautiful.
And the proceeds?
All go to the Adler Aphasia Center. We make nothing out of it, but it's great because every time somebody comes in, they ask like what the products are.
And what's aphasia?
And what's aphasia, and we tell them. And it's pretty amazing, actually.
What's it feel like to be a part of this?
It feels natural and it feels awesome, and it's amazing because people have been coming into the salon and saying, oh my God, I can't believe someone's finally recognizing what aphasia is. So we've had an author donate a proceed of his books, and we did Let's Give a Voice to Aphasia evening in the salon, and I think that's something that they could really incorporate here.
What's the message to other small business owners who say, I can't do something like that? You say?
We do something all the time, and the appreciation is larger than what you can even imagine. To just take a little piece of your business, a little square footage, and do something to give back to the community, it's very simple. And this is something that's made even easier because they package everything for you. Everything is very professional looking. Everything's beautiful. It's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer.
Thanks for everything you do.
Oh, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
We're here with Bill Murray from MWW, one of the most prominent firms in the state, involved in public relations, marketing, a whole range of other things. Bill, let me ask you, you're very connected to the Adler Aphasia Center. You're committed to this cause because?
It does a lot for people with disabilities. Aphasia is not necessarily the top thing people know about, and these people have brought it to the forefront. But beyond that, they've also created programs to help people, and that's it. Not just awareness, but addressing it.
Okay, but let me ask you, because you're involved in also helping people understand about things that are supposed to matter or do matter, why do you think has been so hard to create the level of public awareness, much less concern, about aphasia?
There's a lot of illnesses, a lot of people with disabilities, a lot of money going to different things, children. What's difficult to understand here is that people cannot actually voice their problems. So for the longest time, people couldn't talk about aphasia because they couldn't talk. So it was hard to communicate. What was interesting is that therapists started realizing that through that type of work, through the type of work that's provided here at the center, people can recover their speech. People are not stupid. People are do not lose their mental faculties.
It's all communication.
It's all communication. And it's frankly, it's what I do for a living.
What we do, right?
Yeah. So the difficulty here, though, is these people cannot communicate, but they can with the help that's provided by the center. And again, that's the key thing here. It's more than just making people aware. These guys have put their money where their mouth is. They've actually created a program to help people. That's something that you just don't see every day.
It really makes a difference.
It really made a difference. I mean, it has made a difference in this community, and as you've already seen and heard, this organization has spread into Morris County, Essex County, and we heard today that people want to bring them down to southern New Jersey. But this center is the epitome of aphasia treatment throughout the world.
It's an international model.
It's an absolute model.
We're here with David Ludgren from the law firm of McCarter and English. Your firm is recognized tonight at the Adler Aphasia Center's 9th annual gala for your commitment to the work of this center and the people they serve. Why?
The Adlers are just super people, and Elaine Adler made a point to bring me over here. And once you've seen this place, and it was a stroke of genius to have the gala here tonight because everybody could see what the center does. It's just terrific.
Talk about some of that work, and we're actually showing some video as we talk about that shows some of the work of the Adler Aphasia Center. Talk about that work and why it's special.
The patrons of the center spend time making jewelry to emphasize occupational therapy. They also talk about improving their speech. They talk with one another. They actually conduct a mock trial as a way to get people to continue to talk to each other. As you undoubtedly know, they did the production of the great musical Grease. And
the musical performances are amazing here.
They all participated in it, and there's a sense of community here that is just second to none.
And so let me ask you, the people who are honored tonight, so many others, including Senate President Steve Sweeney, you saw him up there speaking. What do you think he was feeling?
I thought he was wonderful. I thought the chance to be up here and to see the difference that the center makes, and I thought he spoke from the heart himself and was able to say, look, this is what I'd like to do for the entire state. I thought that was absolutely wonderful.
And finally, for those who've never heard of aphasia, who say, listen, I don't know anyone with aphasia, it doesn't affect me, you say?
You probably do know somebody with aphasia, and the miracle of this center is that there is a place where people can come and they can get better, and that is what it's all about.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you so much, Steve.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by Holy Name Medical Center, PNC Bank, Kessler Foundation, Bergen Community College, New Jersey Council of County Colleges, United Water, and by Health Republic Insurance of New Jersey. Promotional support provided by The Record, North Jersey's trusted source, and NorthJersey.com. And by NJ Biz, all business, all New Jersey. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area.
My name is Dr. John Rundback. I'm actually the medical director of the Interventional Institute here at Holy Name Medical Center. Peripheral arterial disease actually is extremely common. It's one of the forms of hardening of the artery. As interventional radiologists, we perform minimally invasive image-guided procedure. Generally, the procedures we do are alternatives to what would otherwise be major surgery. Almost 80% of those patients can avoid amputation if they're referred for us for these sort of procedures.
Holy Name Medical Center in Teaneck, New Jersey, 1-877 Holy Name. Healing begins here.